What is Role Player Adventures? Well, come on back after the break for a spoiler-free overview of this storytelling game for 1 to 4 players. Hey everybody, welcome to the show Board Game Reviews. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to the tabletop gaming hobby, and this video is part of a video series looking at the game of Role Player Adventures. This is a dice allocation, a dice manipulation game, and a storytelling game for 1 to 4 players. If you played classic games such as Tales of the Arabian Nights, Agents of Smersh, or any of these other story games such as Time Stories, you got the basic idea of what's going on. But this is a fantasy game that also has dice manipulation on top of the storytelling elements. In this game, players are going to create an adventurer or use one of the standard adventures that comes with the game. This game is very interesting because it's kind of a game within a game, because if you have any of the other Thunderworks games, very famous role player series of games, the dice manipulation game, where you actually build an adventurer. Well, you can build your adventure in that game and then transfer them into this game, or you can just use one of the game's already pre-generated characters that come in the game. There are going to be various classes, various different races, and various different abilities that they're going to bring to the table. Now, the basic idea of this game is this is a dice manipulation game, but the game is also a very strong story-driven game, because when you play this game, you're going to be going through various different adventures, such as a battle at Blacktail, maybe a side quest where you go into a Coliseum, or maybe you're going to hunt down, well, let's minimize those spoilers here and not really go through what's going to go here, but you have 12 large adventure books with a whole bunch of different stories and different events based on your choices that you're going to make. This game adds variety and replay potential, because as you're playing this game, the decisions you're making are going to affect the final outcome of the game, because you're trying to build your faction with 3 different alliances. And these alliances are very much opposed to each other in various different ways. And as you go down one of these paths, it kind of puts you towards a path of one of the ending stories. So there is going to be some replay variety in this game. If you go down one path, next time you play it, you may pick one of the other paths to go down, or maybe mix it up just a little bit. Or like I said, since the fact that you can bring in characters from the role player other game, maybe you just want to create your own character, bring it right through the story, and just experience what it feels like to bring a, well, let's call it a game within game. How's that for going meta for you? Now, this game does have skill checks, and it has encounters, and it also has different maps that you're going to be playing through. And again, I have this map partially covered. Again, spoiler minimized because I care. But basically, you're going to take your adventuring party, and you're going to explore across these maps. All these maps are double-sided. You see there are multiple maps that come in here, and they're going to give you different locations where things may happen. Also, there's going to be randomizers in every single one of these adventures, which is going to deal with a book of adventures that's specific to every single adventure. But this book of adventures will allow you to experience this different ways, because things that happen on these adventures are going to modify what occurs in this book of adventures. So there's things that you may not be able to experience because of the choices you made. Because like I said, your decisions in this game do matter. Make a choice, go down that tree, and you're stuck with it. Perhaps you may be going to a town, and you may see a horrible, evil creature that's trying to kidnap somebody. Well, do you help the creature kidnap because the person they're kidnapping you think is a horrible person? Or do you rescue the person because you don't know what's going on? Well, that decision is going to have far-reaching goals and far-reaching objectives, because that's going to affect your king's favor, your favor with a starlit door, or even the Dragul favor. And again, these are the 3 factions you're vying for control over. And as you're going through this, you're going to be leveling up your character, getting different abilities, getting different cards. Again, these cards are going to allow you to do the dice manipulation. Well, they do it in a very thematic way. It's not just flip a black die over or flip something over like that. It's use your heavy crossbow to modify a die. Use your longsword to go ahead and affect how a die is going to affect the combat. Maybe you're famous. Maybe you're going to use a little bit of your ambition, or maybe you just have a magical runic pendant that you managed to find. Again, you're going to use this to go ahead and manipulate the dice and how they're going to operate. But exactly how is this going to work? Well, let's go and use a spoiler-free example by using a monster and a skill check just to show you how we're going to do this dice manipulation and this interaction in the story-based dice manipulation game. Let's say I used my example earlier where you found the evil-looking creature inside the town. Looks like they're trying to kidnap a person. You decide to interact and you try to save the person who's trying to be kidnapped, and there's suddenly a foot chase. You take off after the bad guy, and this is going to require you to do a skill check of endurance. Well, to do a skill check, you're going to use dice manipulation by drawing dice out of a bag, and then you're going to use your attributes to go ahead and manipulate the kind of dice that are going to come out. Because as you can see, to do this endurance check, let's say it's a level 2 endurance check, we're going to need greens, we're going to need reds and we're going to need blacks. Any dice that don't match those colors are not going to be useful for us unless we use our manipulation skills. Plus, we're going to need certain results to go ahead and complete this task. This is going to tell us that we have a maximum of 6 total dice we can use for this task. So we only have 6 dice to draw from the bag, again, unless we have some cards that allow us to break those rules. So what we could do is use some of our attributes to go ahead and influence the dice that we may have drawn out. So we know we need at least 1 black die, so maybe we'll go ahead and burn some of our dexterity to go ahead and look in the bag here and draw one of the black dice. Again, help us maybe conquer this challenge that we're going after. We said we don't have enough green to go ahead and get the green dice, but we can use part of the green and manipulate some of our other statistics to help us go ahead and get a green die out of the bag. Unfortunately, let's say in this case that we don't have many other stats going to work towards this, so now we're stuck at the whims of fate. Now we have to draw out the remaining dice. Again, this is a 6 dice challenge, so we're going to draw out a couple more dice, and we're going to draw these dice out one at a time until we have a total of the 6 dice that's required for the skill check. After we draw all the dice out of the bag, we're simply going to roll the dice and we're going to hope for the results to go ahead and fill these sections. And of course, we're going to use our skills to manipulate things. Maybe we'll have a die, one of our skills that allows us to flip a die over. We'll flip that die over. That'll complete this part of this. Maybe we'll have another skill that allows us to flip this one over, or maybe we'll have one that allows us to add +2 to any of our dice or something like that. But we're going to burn our skills and burn our attributes in a hope to complete these skills. If we complete these skill challenges, we're going to get different results in the story. If we fail these skill challenges, we're going to have to go to a completely different section of the story. We're going to play on through this, going through this campaign, going through multiple stories. There's 12 different books in the storyline, 10 main books, 1 book that's a finale, and then there's 1 book that's kind of a, well, again, let's avoid those spoilers, but there's definitely a side adventure our heroes can go on. Our heroes are going to go through this grand campaign, leveling up, gaining attributes, gaining different gear, different armor, different statistics, different skills, and even managing to find rare items, magic items. Gaining titles are going to influence the storyline, or even encountering different monsters, such as maybe a horrible insectoid. Maybe we'll encounter an immortal knight. Maybe we'll encounter a giant ice worm. Or maybe we'll just encounter some other people in our grand story. Again, this is all going to be based on the storyline and the story we're going to evolve through. Now, there's just been a quick overview of the game of Role Player Adventures. If you want to see a full playthrough of the game, learn how to play the game, or check out my full review or my opinion of the game, check out the other videos in the series. I will go ahead and cover those other aspects. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video series. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I will definitely answer them as quick as I can. You also feel free to email me if you have any other questions or comments at offtheshelfboardgamereviews. That's otsbgr@gmail.com. I'll definitely do my best to answer your email as quickly as I can. If you enjoy this channel, you enjoy the content I put out there, think about supporting the channel over on Patreon. Just $1 in the tip jar can help me cover my costs. This channel is 100% sponsor free, and all these games I bring out for me are either bought by my own self or by the people I play my games with. Loan these games out to me and keep putting content out for you. You can help me cover my costs just by tossing $1 in the tip jar over at Patreon. Patreon.com/OTSBGR. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this video series. Click that like button, click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.